On Tuesday of this week, the Supreme Court in New York actually issued an emergency injunction, or I guess restraining order, against both Mary Trump, Donald Trump's niece, and Simon & Schuster, the publisher of Mary Trump's book. Well, then the appellate division of the New York Supreme Court the day after, on Wednesday, said, yeah, you can't put this restraining order in place against Simon & Schuster, the book's publisher. They have no agreement whatsoever with any member of the Trump family, so how can you say that they're also forbidden from publishing this tell-all book? Here's a little backstory in case you're not familiar with all the ins and outs of this case so far. Obviously, everybody at this point knows Mary Trump, Donald Trump's niece, is putting out a book that basically exposes all of the horribleness of the Trump family from the inside. Not necessarily any kind of criminal activity, at least none that we know of yet, but just how horrible they are as people. How bad they've been to one another, the horrible things they've said and done. So really just a look at the personality, not necessarily the criminality, of Donald Trump himself. Well, last week, as we reported, Fred Trump Jr. actually came out of the hospital to file this lawsuit to stop the book. And then he had to go right back to the hospital because he's still sick. But it was so important that he had to leave the hospital to stop this book from being printed. And he said he did it, or at least the court says he did it, because back in early 2001-ish, Mary Trump, along with other members of the Trump family, signed a confidentiality agreement that was signed in order to settle the estate and the will of Fred Trump Sr. Court case last week said that, hey, you can't do that because once that paperwork was signed and that estate was officially settled, it was done. Nothing of that estate was binding anymore because the estate no longer existed once it was given out. Therefore, the confidentiality agreement itself cannot exist because the estate does not exist anymore. The Supreme Court didn't necessarily go with that ruling, but they did go, or at least the appellate court did, that Simon & Schuster didn't sign any agreement with the Trump family. So you can't bar them from printing the book. Now, what's interesting is that there actually is still a restraining order in place against Mary Trump now. But her lawyer has filed a motion to have that dismissed. He said, you dismissed it against Simon & Schuster. We have this other argument of the estate no longer existing. Therefore, the confidentiality agreement cannot exist. So take it off of her. We'll see where that goes. But what this means for right now is that Simon & Schuster can continue printing copies of the book, which is what they're doing. It's coming out in late July, right before the Republican National Convention in early August. So they want to get the copies printed out. They're allowed to sell it. They're not going to have to face any kind of liability from the Trump family for this. Mary Trump, on the other hand, as it stands right now, pending any kind of appeal from her lawyer and the result of that, she could technically be sued over what she says in the book. If she releases any information that was forbidden based on that confidentiality agreement. Right now, she could, in fact, be sued from it. Her lawyer's already filed the motion. We'll see what happens after that. But keep in mind, too, that confidentiality agreement that she signed to settle the estate of Fred Trump Sr., that did not forbid her from ever talking about anything with the family, just mostly things related to that particular settlement and a couple other issues. So, parts of her book may in fact be subjected to that confidentiality agreement, but if she's okay with being sued over it and losing profits from her book, maybe it's not about the money, maybe it's about getting the story out, then she really has nothing to worry about. The thing I think we all need to be asking questions about is what the hell is the Trump family hiding? Right? What secrets do they not want us to know that they know are in this book? That's the bigger question. And whenever the family of the President of the United States fights so hard to keep something secret, you can bet there's probably information in it that the American public definitely needs to know about.